Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Plat. Purplatypus is the name, and today we are talking about my boy, the Prince Gilbert. Now, you haven't heard me talk about him too much because I honestly haven't showcased him too much in like videos and stuff. However, I have used him pretty heavily in my playthrough as I think he's an awesome unit. Also, his name is Gilbert. My name is Gilbert. IRL. So he's without a doubt the single best unit. Plus, we've got the same kind of hair. Look at this. I mean, mine's not in a ponytail right now, but you understand. But really quick, before we jump into it, boom! Thank you to the members. Thank you to the supporters. I appreciate you guys hanging out and supporting the Plat. I can tell that people are starting to get through the initial hype of the game is definitely starting to die down. So those of you that are still watching the videos, I appreciate it. I mean, they're doing fine. Like, I'm having a great time doing it. You guys are watching it. But there's no doubt that I could tell the initial hype is over, and now it's mostly us hardcore Unicorn Overlord players that are still watching. But I am really excited. I'm hoping I'll be able to play Uden Chronicles coming up. Let me know if you're interested in Uden Chronicles. I plan on covering that game extensively, maybe as much as Unicorn Overlord, if not even more videos on it, but we'll see. Maybe it doesn't lend itself that well. Today, what we're talking about is Gilbert. Let's jump into it. So Gilbert is C across the board right here. C across the board. Honestly, stats fucking irrelevant. Who cares? Now, I probably would put I would use a mirror on him to change him to double go-getter, as I think the only thing you care about on him is high initiative. Why? He is the exact flip inverse of a shaman druid. Basically, he is the buff your team instead of debuff the enemy team. So he's good. He's basically the perfect fifth man in every single squad in the game, or at least almost. Like, if you have a lane, in a squad, he's less good in that squad because there's some redundancy that you don't need as much, but he's still good there. Basically, you can fit him in basically in any squad. I used him in my meme build, my Beyblade build, if you watch that one, with a werebear and 3 Vikings, because he basically makes that entire build function. The build is a meme, and it was fun, and it could do some stuff, but there were so many weaknesses in it. And he kind of made those weaknesses non-existent and made this a viable build for the entirety of my playthrough. Besides, like, some super fights, like, it still was a meme after all, but it made it very viable. And it was really on the back of Gilbert here. So let's take a look at what he does. Yes, his stats are pretty much irrelevant. You probably are going to keep him in the back line trying to be safe. He's not here to deal damage. He's here to help you do alpha damage by making other characters stronger. So he does have a very good leader effect that Elaine also has. So he's just a worse leader than Elaine because Elaine has a horsey boy, right? Where's my Elaine at? Elaine has a horsey boy with 300 movement. He doesn't, but Elaine only has the 5 stamina. He has 6, so give and take there. But overall, I would say Elaine has got it better because he's able to move faster. Sorry, I got up early for work today and tomorrow. But he gets extra Valor points when defeating enemy units. That is very powerful. Valor is super strong in this game. It's borderline too strong in a lot of cases, which is why I'm not using it at all on my second playthrough. You know, I have a bunch of restrictions, but that's one of them as well. But if you're not doing some artificial restrictions, this is a great leader effect. So we start off with his one and only bad skill here. Like, literally the only bad skill. Everything else here is fire. Banishing stab. Attack a single enemy, remove all the target's buffs. It's not that this is bad inherently. Like, this is, like, fine. But he's kind of, like, weak in terms of his damage dealing potential. And this isn't, like, a super strong ability. And removing a target's buffs is good, but, like, I would never want him to use his AP on this as opposed to one of his other 2 AP abilities. Now, there are, like, maybe because it's kind of like the druid. You can't do the same buff multiple times. These don't stack. So you might want to, like, later in the fight do this, but removing buffs late into the fight is less good than removing them early into the fight. Maybe not on the first round, but, like, on the second round. So maybe you do this on the second round. Or something like that. So it's, like, usable, but It really does. It's not a game changer in any way. Defensive order. This is just a pretty good ability. I don't think this is insane, but it is pretty good. Grants all allies plus 20% defense. So what's good about this is that I believe different buffs of the same type will stack as long as they're not from the same source. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong about that, where I'm looking for here. But like when an ability says that it stacks, like Cavalry Call, that means you could use this multiple times and it'll keep stacking. However, something like Royal Guard, sorry, not Royal Guard, Iron Veil, right? Grant everyone 30% physical defense to all allies. And then this will grant everyone 20% defense. So in a way, if you have both of these on the same ability, you're getting like 55% defense basically of the physical and then 20% of the magic defense. So like if you have different things that'll do this, this will just be additive to it, right? Not multiplicative, you know, not 20% of the new final number, but like the 35 plus 25 is 55 kind of percent. So even though like abilities like this don't stack, I do think it is pretty good. And like someone pointed out, the werewolf has that ability that gives like a row of enemies plus 15% attack. I actually think even though it's not an insanely good ability, because like cavalry just has cavalry. I don't know if it's cavalry or calvary. I think it's cavalry. I just correct me in the comments. I'm already feel like an idiot. All right, I'm tired today. I'm not gonna worry about it. But the horsey boys is what us adults say when you're in the industry. Okay, it's called horsey boys. So this is good, not great. I don't use it that much, but it is an ability that is absolutely worth having. 20% defense, boom, right there. But the inverse here, 20% attack. That's big boy damage, right? That's a horsey boy buff. That is even better than the werewolf buff, and it grants it to everybody. So that is very, very good. And if I remember, the werewolf gives it's 15% to its row. I'm not sure I talked about the werewolf. I just released that video not too long ago, and so they're kind of in my head, right? This is a row. So like there's definitely like a world where like you get the 20% from offensive order, and then the werewolf gives another 15% to everybody. Like that's pretty good. You know, once you start talking about 35% potency or, you know, more attack, that's a lot of attack. So this ability is super, super good. 20% attack is huge, especially when it starts stacking with other things. So this is mainly what I do round one always. And the main reason why initiative I think is important on this unit, you want this offensive order to go before any of your units attack. But we're about to get better. We've got rapid order. If you have a lane, you already know about this, but this is basically like there's like 3 insanely powerful start of battle effects, and this is one of the 3. I mean, there's like 4 really powerful ones, but the 3 most powerful ones that I usually use are rapid order, rage of fireflies, and wyvern's call, wyvern's cry, wyvern's dragon's roar, right? And this is just the opposite. This is -20 on all enemies instead of +20 on all allies, but rapid order only takes 1 PP, where dragon's roar takes 2. But I mean, they're relatively equal, all things considered, most of the time. But that's why I consider those 3 to be the most powerful. The 4th one here, I think, is kind of the Warhorn. I think the Warhorn is really good, but I ended up not using it as much because I find just going before your enemy is very powerful, especially all allies, 20 initiative. That is fucking so good. And now you can have it on 2 separate teams. And Elaine is like this really powerful unit on his own, and kind of fits anywhere. And this unit is very powerful in the sense they fit everywhere as well, but they really make your powerful units even more powerful. So I think that this would work even better with like a horsey boy team, because you get to just, before the horses even go, you get to give them a little bit of an attack boost, all right? They're getting double the effect of it. Or maybe a bunch of flyers, you know? Rapid order is just very strong, all right? I think it's pretty clear that no one's going to argue with that. Guard order, this one is good, but it doesn't come up that much. It's almost like guard order would be good if it wasn't for the fact that rapid order is so good and that you never have a chance to use guard order, right? Guard order, it's very specific here. It activates before an ally's attacked. The whole row of allies gets a 100% guard rate for 1 attack. This is particularly good with, I mean, I say this a lot, but this is good with like berserkers, right? where they have like a 0% guard rate, but this can just give them a guaranteed guard despite not having shields, something like that, which really helps with them not just instantly dying if they happen to be on your front line. But the issue with guard order is not even an issue with guard order. It's that if you have rapid order and offensive order going in the beginning, you'll probably just kill the enemies before they have a chance to really attack you. And then if they do attack you, it's so much like weaker that the guard order is not like super important. But it is a good ability. I do like it. It is limited, but it's like every time this affects the whole row, and it will be, you could use this multiple times. It's only 1 PP. It's really good. Like, it's a really good ability. But the offensive order, rapid order tends to be so strong that you don't need to use it. So that speaks to the power of the unit, I think. I really wish guard order was like on a different unit. I kind of wish, like, maybe not the sergeant, but I do kind of wish there was a different type of unit that had this. I think it would be a really cool to have it on a different kind of much more defensive support. Even though he's equal offense and defense, offenses and speed is going to be better most of the time. But now we're getting to sniping order. This is one of my favorite passive skills in the game. Make a row of allies, next attack a true strike. So, I mean, rapid order was already good. Offensive order was already good. So now, like, this is why he made my Viking build viable. Right? The Vikings just miss all the time, especially with their really powerful rolling axe, right? It's really powerful, but it does just miss a lot of the time. But not when they have guaranteed true strike. So on top of him being able to make them all go faster, all of them have bonus damage, and they already have high base damage, right? Base attack. Now he can make it so they all have guaranteed true strike on an attack. Now, it is only one attack. So, I mean, that's very powerful, but it's not going to be as useful on something like the sellsword, right? Where the sellsword has a little bit of an accuracy issue, or, you know, that you want to deal with, but they do all these follow-up attacks. This doesn't really help that much with that kind of thing when you're going to be attacking that many times. But if you're doing a really, really powerful attack that has a lower accuracy, this is like super good. And this is also going to be super good when suddenly you're using a Viking, you're using a Great Knight, you're using a Berserker, things that have accuracy problems, and you're going up against a flyer. Now suddenly you don't even worry about it. You're going up against thieves, you're going up against flyers, boom, guaranteed. Whenever one of your units attacks, now all 3 of them in that row are guaranteed to get a true strike. So for 2 PP, you're getting 3 true strikes out of it effectively. So insanely good ability. It is one of the later ones you're going to get. And I think Gilbert is really good before this point, but I think this really makes Gilbert like one of the best units in the game. Rapid order is insanely powerful, with offensive order being insanely powerful because it affects front row and back row, right? Everybody. And then even if though you aren't using just rapid offensive order, like defensive order and guard order are still pretty good, even if you don't need to use them most of the time. Banishing stab is like, if you use this on the second action because you don't need to use, you know, defensive order, you rapid order, offensive order, and then remove one of their buffs of someone, like a high, you know, just have it a gambit set up so it's like only target buff target as second action or something like that, right? Then you could do something like that. But it absolutely kind of a nuts unit. Now it could be, it's kind of like the druid in the sense where it could be hard to see the full value of the unit until you start using it, because they're not doing any damage themselves. They're not healing anybody themselves, right? So all of their stuff is like, it's hard to see how much damage this character does or how much damage they prevent you from taking directly until you take them out of your squad and try to do the same exact combat. And suddenly you see not having rapid order on your team is massive. Not having offensive order is really, really going to hurt your ability to kill with specific attacks. As far as the Valor skills go, they sound overpowered. I think they actually, in reality, end up not working that well, not being that important. Increase an allied unit starting PP by 1. Increase an allied unit starting AP by 1. They're strong, but they just become... It becomes worse as the game goes on, because you get more and more things that allow you to cap out AP and PP relatively easily. However, in the super, super late game, maybe you could use this to like specifically use certain things that don't have AP or PP that are a little bit stronger, and you could use this to compensate to get you to that, but then that's only for one fight, one time. So overall, I don't think they're very good Valor skills. They're super powerful when you get them, but there's just better stuff in general for Valor skills. So what are you gonna want to equip on him? Basically, all he cares about, in my opinion, is massive amounts of PP. He wants good PP because you want a rapid order, sniping order. So you want at minimum 3. Then you want 4 if you think you're going to need guard order. Or if you're going to want to use sniping order more than once, you're probably out of luck there unless you have an owl on the team. But he wants initiative. He wants to go first. He wants to offensive order the entire team. That's what he wants to do. So mine is effectively at 76 initiative right now after rapid order kicks in. I believe 99 is the highest. I actually am not entirely sure about that because I haven't like hard leveled up initiative high enough to hit the cap, right? Besides that, you can kind of just equip, like you can see here, initiative, and PP. Besides that, I have had mine in the front row just to, like, he's really bad in the front row. But I've had him in the front row just so I could have all my attackers in this row because I didn't want any of them to die. I'd rather have had Gilbert die because the team can still fight. If he's the only one alive, it doesn't really do anything. So having him in the back row felt less good. But overall, I just found this would actually, if you have 3 units in the front, they divide the damage enough where it doesn't really matter as much. So I'd put Gilbert in the back row, not really worry about his HP that much. Units that he works really good with. I've already spoken about it, but with the Vikings, he is particularly good with the Vikings, in my opinion. You're going to see a trend here, right? High attack units. So the 20% is going even further. Initiative is less important. Like, you don't want low initiative, but it kind of irrelevant in a sense because rapid order and a little bit of initiative fixing items will kind of let you get to be wherever you need to be. But really what's important is high physical attack and things that tend to struggle with accuracy. Like, the high physical attack's the most important thing, but a lot of times when something's suffering with accuracy, it means that they are doing more powerful things with their attacks because they're going to miss some of the time. So Viking is really good. Viking actually has only a C accuracy, which isn't terrible. However, their most powerful ability here, Rolling Axe, is actually a 120 potency for 1 AP, and it lowers defense, but only has a 75% hit rate. So this thing is a fucker to hit without True Strike. But once you get True Strike, you're hitting thieves, you're hitting flyers, no problem. It's a triple hit. So it's just very, very powerful in general. Yeah, I know Widebreaker is technically more powerful with a 150 potency and a bigger defense break, but this is only 1 AP. This is half the resources for nearly the exact same outcome. So I tend to use Rolling Axe, but if you want to be faster and not want to give characters multiple actions and you just want to kill them in the first round, then yeah, having Widebreaker is going to be better if you can debuff them before the Viking goes. Great Knight, fantastic. Like, obviously the Knight is great with other Knights, and which is great with other Knights, which is great with other Knights. They're very synergistic. But again, this is even a more extreme example. They have a physical attack and they have an E accuracy. Their accuracy is actually pretty bad. Now, they do double damage to the infantry, so that physical attack is going twice as far. But it really sucks when you miss with your pile thrust. You're not super likely to miss with your pile thrust, but if you miss with even a third of it, you're missing a lot of damage. The assaulting lance, if you miss with it, it just feels bad. So having like you can see I have Eagle Eye on this guy because I got tired of missing. But if you just have a guaranteed, True Strike, and you're getting 20% more attack, and you're getting more initiative, it makes the Knight just that much better. Especially if you have multiple Knights. Like if you have 3 Knights here, you give them all 20% attack, right? Then you give them all True Strike, and then each of your Knights attacks, they're going to give all the Knights 20% attack, so they're at 2, 4, 6. They're like 80% bonus attack on the first round when the third Knight goes. Like, that's huge. The other unit here, I think the Berserker is a particularly good fit. Very, very similar thing. Absolute dog shit accuracy, but one of the highest base attacks in the game. This one's not even particularly good. I wouldn't go like a hardy Berserker like this. I would go with a all-in physical Berserker because they got Wide Smash, right? 1 AP Wide Smash. If you're doing what you're supposed to do and you're boosting your initiative, like he's only at 11 initiative right now, right? But if you make it so he goes before, like right after the Viking, so the Viking debuffs the defense and then he gets to go, he's swinging with a fucking A physical strength, that's getting buffed 20%, and he's hitting with wide smash, which is a 200% potency if he's at 100% HP, 200% potency while also being true strike, while also only being 1 AP. You could even do like wild smash, mounting charge, and then another wild smash. Like, or you could do, you know, this gives you 30% attack, that gives you 50%, and then on round 2, wide smash. I would still like to do the wide smash on round 1 while you have 100% HP guaranteed, and then round 2, mounting charge, and then finish with like another wide smash. You could even use grand smash. I don't think it's insane. It is the same amount of damage as wide smash, but this doesn't hit flying targets. And I know that seems kind of small, but this is the thing. Grand smash, it attacks all enemies, but it doesn't hit flying targets. It does 150 potency at 100% HP with a hit rate of 80. This is 100. This is more potency, 200 potency, and it's only 1 AP. It's only half the AP, and it does more damage, and it also hits half of the enemies. It hits at least half of the enemies, maybe even more of them, right? If there's one flyer, if you're fighting a 4 or 5 man squad, they have a flyer, the max you're going to hit is 4 units, and they usually don't have one flyer. Let's say if they have 2 flyers, you're only hitting 3 units with grand smash, which is this. It means you're doing the same amount of damage as wide smash, but you're spending twice the AP to do it. So grand smash is not a very good ability because of the ground based, and it's lower potency. So I'm probably going to be using wide smash here. But these are units that I think that Gilbert works particularly good with. I mean, again, I did the werebear absolutely as well. I forgot to include him because he was already out here. The werebear has this absolutely insane round swing ability, right? It has 75% hit rate, and he might have the most dog shit accuracy in the entire game. But if he is at full HP, which is already important for what you're trying to do with the rapid order and stuff like that. You want him to be at full HP when the fight starts. That way you can, you want him to go fast so he doesn't have a chance to lose HP. Attack a row of enemies. Damage increases the more HP you have. So let's just say you're at 100% HP, you get plus 50 potency. This is, I assume that's per hit, right? Yeah, it is, because it's 75 potency times 3. 75, 150, 225 potency. And unlike the other, like the rolling axe and the wide smash and other abilities, like many other similar abilities, this ability is also unguardable. This is unguardable, 225 potency on an entire row. Absolutely a fucking busted ability. Actually busted with True Strike. Without True Strike, you just fucking miss. This basically does nothing and you've spent 2 AP. He has the same exact thing as the other, you know, the attack everyone. It's just not that good. You have to be really, really low HP, and then it still is ground-based. And yes, it's unguardable, but it's just not that good in general. So the werebear, if you're going to be using round swing, is really, really good. Outside of that, and pretty much everything the werebear has, I think kind of sucks. But I think the werebear is a Gilbert special unit. And yeah, so Gilbert really helps bring your physical units to the next level. True Strike is incredibly powerful in the game. Flat attack bonuses are really good in the game. Rapid Order is one of the most powerful abilities in the entire game. And yeah, Gilbert is way up there. Not quite S tier. I don't remember where I put him on my tier list, but he's got to be A tier. There's no way I put him below A tier, but I don't think he's quite S tier in terms of he doesn't absolutely break the game in half, but he's like, he almost does. He's on the precipice of doing that, right? If he was our protagonist instead of Elaine, I think the game would be still pretty easy because this character would be very powerful in pretty much all fights through the whole game. And his level doesn't really matter. Like once you get level 25 to get sniping order, his stats don't fucking matter. His equipment doesn't matter, right? Just make sure he's fast enough to go first, and then make sure he has a third PP. He starts with 2. Just give him 1 more PP, and then make sure he is fast enough to go first and give everyone the offensive order before they go. And then that's it. Gilbert is built. Maybe the most simple yet powerful and potent unit in the game. I got to do the Were Fox next. I promised that I would. I kept not doing it, I think. I do really like the Were Fox, though. I really like Weakness Hunter, man. Unguardable. Ignore 50% of defense. It is 2. I mean, that's why it's 2 PP still. Anyway. That is all for today, guys. Thank you very much. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about Gilbert. Am I right about him? Am I wrong about him? Am I am I saying he's too good? Am I saying he's not good enough? Quit looking at my clothes, all right? Those are where I keep my work clothes. You don't know. Look at that. Now my room looks clean, all right? Why do I have my setup like this? I should just turn my thing so you're looking at the wall. I don't even know, man. Maybe I'll change my setup not over the weekend, but on my next day off or something like that. Just kind of make it look a little bit nicer, or at least make it look behind me. I kind of like everyone being able to see behind me, but it doesn't help when I have nothing for you to look at. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. Much love for Platypus and for Platypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I got to go to bed. I work early in the morning. Bye.